You didn't think it could get worse after a decade of Justin Trudeau in Canada. I've got bad news for you. We are seeing Anarcho-Tyranny to a T under Mark Carney right now. Perfectly exemplified by 400 RCMP officers out in BC for a woman trying to raise 400 ostriches. Truly disgusting. 400 goddamn police officers out in BC. They already know that the 2 ostriches who had the virus were put down. The rest of them have been tested. They're absolutely fine. Yet the show of force from our communist government to a law-abiding citizen is textbook anarcho-tyranny. You go after your law-abiding citizens. Well, tyranny is allowed the red carpet rollout. What we have seen on our streets with the daily pro-foreign massive protests, with people rolling fake body bags on our streets, fake blood on their hands, screaming the most vile things you've ever heard, the most anti-Western things you've ever heard, the most anti-Canadian things you've ever heard, receiving the red carpet rollout. What we're seeing in Canada is to a T the definition of anarcho-tyranny. So many new laws being introduced on the books since Mark Carney was elected our prime minister, the tool of the WF in Davos. They're now trying to pass Bill C9, which would criminalize speech that our corrupt liberal government does not like. They want to scare dissidents of their government. They want you nervous to say anything critical about immigration, anything critical about their woke ideology, anything critical about how this country has gone down the drain in the past 10 years by any objective measure, anything critical about how housing in this country has shot up like a rocket since Justin Trudeau was elected and has allowed mass unlimited immigration, 8 million people in the past 11 years. Anybody who criticizes the fact that an estimated 70,000 excess Canadians are passing away now a year due to our broken healthcare system that they don't care about. They want to go after law-abiding citizens like this poor woman at Universal Farms in British Columbia who is now being attacked due to the fact that our corrupt government wants a show of force to scare everyday normal Canadians. You walk our streets every day, these foreign flags all over the place, masked thugs trying to intimidate Canadian citizens. This is not what our ancestors fought for at Vimy Ridge for World War II, for us to be scared on our own streets by masked gangsters who come from civilizations wildly different from ours. Canadians need to stand up and say enough is enough. We've had enough of this government that rolls the red carpet out for people who chant death to Canada. Literally chant death to Canada. Burn Canadian flags on our goddamn streets. They chanting, shutting our civilization down for foreign conflicts that have nothing to do with the issues that we have in Canada right now. We should be concerned in Canada with the 2 million Canadians who are currently using food banks a year. We have incredible natural resources, some of the most incredible natural resources in the world, yet our federal government refuses to let us take advantage of our LNG, refuses to take advantage of our oil. And you know why? It's because this is what commies always want. They want you poor, they want you destitute, they want you struggling to survive so you don't notice how you're being robbed under your own nose, which is exactly what the Liberal Party of Canada continues to do. Alexander Solzhenitsyn, the great philosopher who lived through the Stalin reign in Russia, spoke about how the telltale sign of communism was when the criminals were allowed to roam free and the law-abiding citizens were terrorized. That describes to a T, to an absolute T, what we're seeing in Canada. They tried to pass a bill, a 3 strikes and you're out bill, to say that all these criminals roaming our streets who continually get put out by Bill C-75, some of the most lax bail policies in the Western world, that see disgusting criminals like Daniel Senecal who essay young children, that see criminals who do break and enters on our streets again and again and again in Canada, some of the most lax bail policies you have ever seen towards criminals, But this is done intentionally. The Liberal Party of Canada does not want to punish the criminals. They want our streets to be dangerous so that they can rob us from under our nose and we don't notice it. So they let the criminals roam free. Bill C-75, which the Liberals passed, states that criminals must be allowed out on bail as soon as possible. The Conservatives this week tried to table a new bill, 3 strikes and you're out, make it harder for criminals to get out on the streets. And you know what the Liberals did? They shut it down. Castle laws. We've seen a spat of home invasions in Canada, which used to be unheard of. Now you're hearing all the time. The 46-year-old man who was murdered in front of his children. The Conservatives want to pass castle laws that say if you show up on my property, I can do anything I want to defend my family. Of course, any common sense Canadian is going to want that. The Liberals say no. And it's because they want to terrorize the law-abiding normal citizens and they want the criminals to feel comfortable. That's exactly what they want in Canada. Mark Carney coming out saying Muslim values are Canadian values. There's plenty of friendly, great Muslims, but there is undoubtedly a percentage, 1%, whether that's 1% or 5%, 2 billion people on the planet. We see time and time again, it's just a statistical fact. It's not racist, it's not xenophobic to say when a population hits a certain percentage Muslim, you see more crime, particularly crimes against women. Do you think it's a coincidence that crimes against women have exploded in the past decade since we've allowed unlimited immigration from the Middle East? Do you think that's just a coincidence? People need to open their eyes to the fact that Anarcho-Tyranny, the Cloward-Piven strategy, is being implemented in Canada intentionally right now. Mark Carney and the Liberal Party want criminals to feel safe on our streets while everyday law-abiding citizens are nervous about what's going on. It's sick. It's disgusting. Canadians need to wake up. They are intentionally trying to ruin this civilization that our ancestors fought for, Bremen Ridge, fought valiantly at World War II. And if we don't stand up and say enough is enough, we're not taking this anymore. Can you imagine after the past 10 years, the disaster that it's been for this country? If we continue down this path for another 2-3 years, I can't imagine what this country is going to look like in 2-3 years. It's the transformation. Anybody who's been living in Canada for their entirety of their life, the transformation is truly shocking how much this country has changed in the past decade. And I know that the vast majority of Canadians are with me on this. We cannot just sense it. I know Canadians are generally more apathetic people, but we need to stand up to this madness and we need to say, enough is enough. We are standing up for the country that our ancestors fought for valiantly. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on TikTok, I'm over 19K followers and the Canadian government's not a big fan of dissidents. Make sure you're following on YouTube, youtube.com/FightForCanada 2025. Please share this video far and wide. The first thing is to define what the Canadian government is attempting to do, which is anarcho-tyranny. We have to name it out and we have to shut it down. Canadian Patriots are going to take this country back.